Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Let's analyze this situation here all together. We are getting a little bit of pumpy action here with the news coming out. Make sure to destroy that like button because we got a good one for you today, guys. We got many scenarios that we are going to be discussing throughout the live stream, guys. Make sure to absolutely destroy the like button on your way in. How is everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. We are getting a little bit of a bouncy momentum here at the moment with Bitcoin. We are hitting the beloved highs of 113.5 at last, guys. Finally hitting this level, which I was waiting for over a week ago now, guys. Okay. Over a week ago, when that long was taken, the main take profit zone was the 113.5K, which is basically sweeping up the highs of this range. Whoever got into a long position, whoever's in the VIP community or in the Legends Pro community, some people are interested in local scalping scenarios. I am keeping a little bit of a nice swing trading mentality, okay, where you just wait, realizing the high probability of getting a nice rally at some point from this zone, purely based because we did have the point of control from this range right over here, right? We did have the point of control of this range. We did have the anchored VWAP also very nicely supported, which gave us the high probability, good support, analyzing the local internal structure for us to really look for a double bottom or a change of structure locally to jump into that long position, which the main target zone was actually coming to sweep up these lower highs, hit the 382 Fibonacci from all-time high to the pivot low. That zone right over here where we do have the anchored VWAP, there's lots of resistance, but the price of Bitcoin is trying to push through. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, guys. If you did pay attention on yesterday's stream, let's forget about all of this nonsense because we don't need that anymore. This was basically from the support of last week. But let's talk about the local time frame. The local time frame, we got a nice squeeze to the upside. Go Bitcoin, let's go. Is this bullish? How high are we going to go? Do we have that major inverted head and shoulder, which we are going to break out the neckline and go to Valhalla, guys, go to $119,000, $120,000? I do not think so. It's a possibility, but I don't think this inverted head and shoulder is going to be the pattern that we are looking for, guys. Okay, I do see the price going to slightly higher levels, but my question is, are you positioned in a short or in a long position? Are you in a long position is my main question, not a short. I haven't been really interested. I was kind of interested in a double top locally here, but with the news coming out, okay, we have seen that the news PPI has brought a bullish effect on the market, at least in the short term, okay, minus 0.1. Okay, so it's not higher than expected, and the market is getting a bullish reaction right now with the price action pumping. But the question is, did you get into a long position as the price yesterday came down to the point of control? We did have that previous week close also, or previous week open, if I'm probably mistaken here. Let's take a look here what level it was exactly. Previous week close, the point of control of the range where your best shot when we were trading in this zone from the live stream was waiting for a sweep of the lows to look for a long position. I didn't long this, but I did add to my long position, and I've taken some profits right now as we hit the high. But if you paid attention on yesterday's live stream, we were talking about, the best level to get into a long position, guys, is sweeping the lows, get below $111,000. We do have the point of control, keeping away Elliott wave structure, Elliott wave scenarios, okay, out of the way. Because I know we are in a very confusing range, guys. Tell me about it. Me and Devil have been discussing multiple scenarios. Sometimes you just need to keep it nice, easy, and simple, guys. This is resistance. This is support. the momentum is still maintaining higher lows, why not enter along? You know, we're just about to hit those lower highs. We just missed it by a very small amount, not even $100 missing that high. So if we do get a pullback down to the stronger support level in this zone, which is slightly below 111K, sweep up the lows. And guess what? Surprise, surprise, guys. This is exactly what happened, right? The biggest support level, which was the point of control of this range of the last 10 days, if you wish, right? Even slightly more than that right now, 12 days or so. We did come all the way down, swept the local lows, previous week close, managing to hold with fake outs and getting the rally to take out the highs, which is your target zone to take profits. We did talk about this level, guys, on yesterday's stream. We were talking about many scenarios here. If we move up, you know, it's not going to be an easy short. We need to see exhaustion. That didn't happen. So we came down to our main level of support, which was the level where we would consider a nice long position, price already bouncing over $2,000 in the last 24 hours based on yesterday's stream, legends, right? There you have it. Sometimes we just need to keep it nice and simple and easy. Wait for the levels, guys. The most important thing in trading is wait. Have some major levels. Recognize where the price can bounce or can reject, okay? And just wait for the levels and execute the trade, right? So we did come down there to that point of control, swept the lows, and now as we talk, we are sweeping up those highs of the range. Let me know in the comment section, guys. Did anybody get into this long position? We talk about the levels, we talk about the scenarios. You do you, I'll do myself, right? Overall, we did get that nice little bounce from the point of control, which was a scenario that was talked about yesterday, guys. Just waiting for that clear level of support to get the bounce. Let's go, legends. This is what we like to do. Bring up the previous stream to see if any of your scenarios, right, did come to fruition. Of course, there was no short trade. So, you know, no short trade from this movement here. You know, missed out on shorting this move down. You know, it was quite unpredictable if you ask me. But this one was quite predictable, okay? And local price action we talked about. If we break through, it's not going to be an instant short for me, okay? We need to see that exhaustion hitting major levels of confluence. We got a naked point of control from this consolidation. Hang on a minute. Let's get myself out of the way here. You don't need my face there. So let's just move it around. We don't need me here. Let's just move myself around. We've got a naked point of control from this range, which is sitting at $115,000. There's a weekly naked point of control, a regular naked point of control from this little consolidation right over here. There is also the previous month open, which is slightly higher. I mean, this is the zone where I want to see the choppiness. That was based on yesterday's, you know, scenario. If we were to be bullish here, guys, it's not going to be an instant short, in my opinion. We're going to wait for that exhaustion in this area. What the price did, we dumped down, guys. We never went to the upside here. So we need to prepare for longs. We prepare for longs and for shorts. That's what we're going to do in this stream as well, guys. So make sure to stay tuned throughout the stream. Smash up that like button. Enjoy the stream because we talk about the projections based on Elliott wave theory, what we're looking at, and most importantly, taking the levels into consideration. Remain patient. Give that education, guys. Wait for the most important levels. When there's volatility, we do not mainly want to be interested here in getting into a quick short or a quick long breakout of the inverted head and shoulder. We want good support levels, good structure, and have a good trading plan. So we ended up coming down, sweeping up the lows, and we got the major rally. This was the support, the plan from yesterday. Nice little bounce of over $2,000 in the last 24 hours, guys. So make sure to let me know, did anybody get into a long position? I know Staffer1 is in a long position. He is a member in the Legends Pro community. He was confirming today that he was in a long position. So let's go right away through the comment section. Let's go. Smash the like button for the alpha. We got Devilt, the absolute masterpiece here in the comment section. Shout out to you, Devilt, my man. Much love to you, brother. Anybody entered the long, let me know right away because it was actually not that many people on the live stream yesterday. Hey, we talk about the levels, we create a plan. I try to go through comment section. People not joining, they're going to miss out on the opportunity levels, right? Which was this one right over here. Devil, my brother, Mariella, Pac-Man. Ooh, we got moderators here giving love and power. Staffer1, El Profesor. Andy, how are you doing today? I'm doing great, my man. I've done my fitness. I've been sunbathing a little bit. Get a little bit of that vitamin D, guys. Very important to stay happy, stay active. Get ready for your trading setups. I'm feeling great, brother. I hope you're doing good as well, okay? Let a show begin. Absolutely, brother. The show has begun. Slap the like button gently on your way in, legends, because we got a good one today. We're getting that volatility. Let's see how, the price is gonna, move in the next coming hours, couple of days. I've got some scenarios ready, all right, which are eventually going to be, told, first of all, to the Legends Pro or the Legends VIP group, okay? Now, let me say, I did talk about a long position, okay, last week in this area, which is one that I took profit and that I compounded in, right? It's this one right over here, guys. We ain't sugarcoating anything here, okay? There's no sugarcoating. There's no, we share the P&Ls, the last 30 days P&Ls. We share the trades, and there's no sugarcoating here. It's pure transparency on my trade. This is a trade that I compounded from last week, that I did take profit on this movement to the upside that we had. I entered I did add to the position to get to the last higher low, realizing that the 113.5K can be taken just to squeeze a little bit of more profits eventually. And if we go to slightly higher levels, then eventually we'll be taking some more profit. So overall, this long trade, I was asking the community how many were in the long position, and it was about 60% of the people were in the long, 40% were already fully out from that long of last week. Well, it doesn't matter as long as you've been, taking some profits, but I was still in the trade, looking to add to the position, still with the main idea that we should be taking out 113.5, which just happened in the last 30 minutes. Hey, maybe if you watched yesterday's video, YouTube live stream, maybe you did actually get into this long. Maybe. I mean, this is the thing, right? You need to have your alerts, be in front of the chart. I do get that lots of the times we talk about certain movements, and most of the time, I do recognize that a lot of people would miss the trades. So anyway, we're going to be going through what is happening here. We are at the value area high, a little swing failure pattern right now on the formation from the highs of the last few days, right? Let's see if Tradingview wants to play ball here, right? Am I interested in this swing failure pattern? I'm kind of not interested in the swing failure pattern just as of yet, okay? Not interested. This move to the upside looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty damn interesting as a 5-wave impulse, I have to say. It doesn't look too bad. We've got a 3-wave down here, 5-wave up. It's interesting. It is interesting to recognize what is going to happen next on the possible correction or an impulsive move to the downside. Because could this be the high and we are going to roll over? Or could we just form a corrective structure here and then eventually look for the next leg to the upside, as we do have a 5-wave move up, corrective structure, and another squeezed leg to the upside? That's what we need to identify throughout the next coming hours, and I will explain throughout this live stream what we need to see to be confident in that long position, and also in the short position that I am going to get in at some point, regardless if I'm late, regardless if I catch the highs, wherever the highs are going to be, or if I am going to get later on the sign of weakness to take out 107.2K, okay? 107.2K. Will I short here, or will I short on the sign of weakness bounce? I do not know. For the moment, we're testing the highs. We formed a 5-wave impulsive move throughout the last 24 hours. Yeah, let's talk about a few scenarios that could play out, because I'll tell you what, guys, unless you are in the Legends Pro community, there will be a stream in the next coming days where I will be sharing the next big trade. Ethereum short, 60,000 in profit. This long position on Bitcoin, it was a small position to begin with, okay, but it was 15,000 in profit. The next position will be very likely plus $50,000 in profit, okay? It will be very likely a big position, and I want to talk about that big position today. The question is, will you manage to execute it? If you are in the Legends Pro or in the VIP, you will execute that trade potentially with me, okay? If you are interested in that, make sure to join the Telegram to get you inside of the VIP or the Legends Pro community, okay? We'll let you know how you can get in there, okay, to take my next big trading position on Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's all about waiting, guys. It's all about being patient. And today, we are going to map the situation. Let me know, guys. Did anybody get into this long position right away in the comment section? This was a scenario that was mentioned yesterday, holding that point of control of this entire range. Let me know right away in the comment section. Did anybody get into the long of the point of control? Probably not. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. 𝗬𝗍𝘆, my brother, much love to you. Also just came back from the gym. Absolute legend. Keeping fit, healthy. Mariela, much love to you. Got my moderators here giving love and power, taking over the comment section. Pac-Man, brother, much love. Staffer1, Ozren, got in, took 54% profit, got stopped out at break even, says Ozren, absolute legend. Eventually short at 113.5k, says MCW. Eventually short. You know, a little bit of a quick swing failure pattern, all for the aggressive traders, right? It's all a liquidity game, guys, right? So if anybody wants to take this with good risk management, stop loss at the high, you more than, can take that short. I'm not taking it. I'm interested in other bigger movements, okay? But, overall, it is a swing failure pattern, right? It's a liquidity game. You sweep up the lows, you sweep up the highs, and then maybe it might dump down, right? At the end of the day, it's a liquidity grab game. So now that we've swept the highs, can we get a big pullback? I'm not that interested in this one, if I'm honest, and I'll explain why. Okay? But yeah, eventually we could reject down $1,000 or so, right? Especially after forming this kind of 5-wave structure on the lower time frame, right? Because we have, from this low that was created yesterday, formed a little bounce, higher low, nice rally today, little correction, and another rally here. I mean, the overall question here eventually is, maybe you are still developing the third wave, right? Nobody knows, right? To short a fifth wave, it is complex unless it is massive resistance or it's an ending structure in a C wave. It's not that easy, because this could easily be a 1, 2, and you're still forming a 3, 4, 5 here, and then correction in 4, and then another 5 later on. And you're like, this was not the fifth wave. This was not the fifth wave, and you're still extending here the third wave, right? So it's not it's not one of my interest levels to take the short. Somebody was saying eventually we short the highs here at 113.5. It's not particularly a short that I am interested at the moment, okay? Not yet. Need more information. Need some other scenarios to be confident in that short position, legends. So I can see a few of the people in the comment section that were paying attention. So a few of comments said that they did get into the long. I mean, these are levels just shared on YouTube, okay? These are levels that just shared on YouTube, which we talk about different scenarios, but I can already see a couple of people that did get into the long position. I am Andy. No, you're not. Me, Neza, how are you doing? If we do get to 500 likes, I'll tell you what, I will make a $500 giveaway today on the live stream. Why not? Okay. I know there is potential of getting to 500 likes. I have been hitting 500 likes in the past. It's time to give back to the community. I will give $500 worth of my profits. 500 likes, $500. 1,000 likes, $1,000. 2,000 likes, $2,000. let's keep it like that, right? First, let's get the first target, which is 500 likes, and we'll do a giveaway of $500. What do you think about that? We need to give back to the community, okay? So let's do that. Give some money back, okay? My life is good. Everything's good on my side. I want to help the community, okay? Andy the Goat, Boss Sloth, how are you doing? Come on, guys. Hitting the like is free, says Maku. Andy's the best. Franek, very far away of being the best. I try my best, but I wouldn't say I'm the best, okay? I would never say that. I could say I'm okay, right? I'm okay. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Nothing much more here. We need to go straight into the meat and potatoes here, guys, on the Bitcoin chart, okay? Buenos dias from Mexico. I took the trade yesterday. Quick $400. Took profit at 113.2K, says Kev. Oh, my holy smokes. Holy smokes. Nice one, Kev, from Mexico. Getting into a long on a higher low, support, point of control. We also had the previous week close down there. So, you know, that was actually holding pretty nicely. I just added to my long position, to be honest, when we were getting a confirmation rally. So, very nice indeed. Nice to see that here in the comment section from people getting into that nice little long position. We're going to talk about some setups right away, guys. But let's first of all talk about how could the price develop in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow. Be cautious, because are we going to rally here, create a massive big trap? Tomorrow is a big day. We do have CPI, guys. We do have inflation rate, okay, that is coming out tomorrow, which we are going to be doing a live stream also. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, because if we pump into this news, I mean, yeah, remember, there's going to be lots of eyes here watching this inverted head and shoulder, right? Because there is an inverted head and shoulder, right? There is kind of an inverted head and shoulder structure here, right? If I'm not mistaken, kind of thing. Many eyes on this, guys. Many eyes on this scenario, which I think some people are expecting some pretty interesting follow through here. And I am very, very skeptical about this scenario. We're probably going to dump down to 107.2K. But I'm not interested yet. And I'll explain why. Just remain patient. We're in longs. We've taken profits from longs. Make sure to collect your profits. If the price were to roll down from here very aggressively, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There will be clear signs of weakness to then jump into a long position, which I want to explain, that could take us well below 107K, okay? There will be time to jump into that short trade later on. This is the kind of price action that I need to see to jump into the short. So let's go right away with the different scenarios, okay? Let's dive in right away throughout the different scenarios. Let's try and figure out here this movement to the downside, where we do have the low right over here. First of all, let's talk about some basic levels of resistance, which is the anchored VWAP. That's provided resistance a few days ago. That's from all-time high. We know that anchored VWAP is a relatively important, you know, level from a major pivot high or a major pivot low. We bounced from the anchored VWAP from the lows of April, and we did get rejected from the anchored VWAP of the all-time highs. So there, you know, we did get squeezed here, getting supported right there and rejected here just a few days ago on Friday. You know, did drop down a couple of $1,000, nothing too major. And today we are trying to attempt to break it. What we do have here also is the value area low, right? Which is basically where we're hitting right now at the moment, right? You could arguably discuss, if we're not counting this price action, the value area low is probably slightly higher, right, of this consolidation that we had in the last few weeks, right? Late July, early August. I wouldn't say that this is the proper value area low, because we're counting this price action. I would go more with this being the range. This is where we start getting some big problems, big problems, big resistance, okay, which is sitting at $114,000 to $115,000. Mucho resistencia. Okay, and we do have the previous month open, which is sitting at 115.7. We do have a few naked point of controls, one of them being a weekly naked point of control, which is also kind of in confluence where we got a bit of a higher volume node, the value area low. Yeah, you know, this is where we also have the 50% Fibonacci from all-time high, okay, to the pivot low. Now, this is not going to be an easy short, guys. It's not going to be an easy short. I mean, if you're the kind of guy that just wants to short, add to the position, your stop loss is at all-time high, I don't know, some craziness like that, right? And you just want to add to a short position because you do think that 107.2K is going to be hit, then, you know, if you have a strategy and you're not going to get burnt, then I think, you know, that's kind of okay if you want to do that. I am a very patient trader and I want to get into a very, very good setup. And I want to explain how I want to get into this setup, okay, throughout the stream. So we do know that this is the big box where we have a lot of resistance, okay? We're going to get the top here at previous month open to the low of the naked point of control. And in the middle, we do have the weekly naked point of control, right? Which is basically from this price action that we had just about, you know, 1 to 2 weeks ago. So let's go right away through the different scenarios on the local price action. Anybody that was shorting here right now is probably getting stopped out or is going to start getting underwater, right? This is why I am not interested in this swing failure pattern for the moment, because I want to explain how the price action needs to develop. Right now, we are just going to focus on this price action. Okay, this could be a zigzag right over here. It can be a zigzag right over here. And now we need to focus in this price action that does count better as some kind of a corrective structure. If this movement to the upside counts better as a corrective structure, which we have many that we're going to talk about, some of them have already got invalidated. We're going to explain the next steps for the next coming days, right? Which is, I am very interested in a short, guys. Extremely interested, but price is pumping, price is moving higher. Let it go. Let it do what it needs to do till we actually see what we want to see. And I'm going to explain that right away throughout this stream. Muy importante. Muy importante. No rush to short a pump. No rush. Okay, we've got many scenarios that could take us to slightly higher levels. We're talking about $1,000 to $2,000, maybe max. Okay, maybe some people want to start getting into short positions here and adding to the shorts. You know, I'm not too confident in that. There is a bullish case scenario eventually, but this is the interesting box area of resistance. Okay, that is where I want to see the choppiness and the weakness. So let's dive in right away. We're counting the value area low as well in this box. Okay, in this box that I'm going to leave here on the chart, we do have previous month open, naked point of control on the weekly, naked point of control from the daily here. We've got the value area low of this trading zone. This is why we leave the box where this is going to be a struggling zone for the price to successfully go to higher levels. Can it break it? Absolutely yes. But let's go right away and shout out to the guys that got into a long position from yesterday, guys. Nice bounce here. Sweep up the lows. Point of control acting as support. There we go, guys. Entry zone, 111K, give or take, you know, a few $100 down or up. And bang, we got the movement up today, guys. Absolute legends. Whoever got into that long position, I compounded into the long, taken most of the profits already. Let's leave a, you know, a hedge long position open because I am interested in a big short. How does this short, you know, when are you going to get into the short? Come on, you know, let me know already. When are you going to short? I'm going to explain what the price needs to do for me to get into a short position, okay? Now, this scenario is basically invalidated, right? Because this is one scenario that I had ready. I mean, I wasn't interested in getting into a trade position here. So what happened is this could have been a triangle in a W. You got your flatten X, A, B, C, D, E. And then from E, you should have had a sign of weakness in a 5-wave structure. And then the bounce. Then maybe it would have been attractive to get into the short position later on. But this, by no means, this was a good level to short. But it was a possible outcome. So now that we've invalidated this scenario, we just throw it in the bin, right? This is how you do it. Scenarios that are invalidated, you throw them in the bin. So that's gone in the bin. So what was other scenarios that we had here? This scenario also in the bin. This is also a scenario that is going in the bin right now because this is literally counting this as a zigzag move down. You have the ABCDE triangle. The main reason why this was still a valid triangle for your wave X in a double zigzag is because you had lower highs. The problem with this triangle is that you had very, very complex double zigzags here, okay? This one was complex, this one was complex. And inside of a triangle, 4 of your waves need to be just regular zigzags, ABC. You can't have 2 complex ones. And this is why, didn't like this scenario too much. You know what? This scenario is also going in the bin, guys. We do not need it. But what would have been interesting about this scenario is breaking down the last higher lows. If we would have rejected from here in an impulsive move down, then the bounce being very corrective, it would have been very interesting to get into shorts to claim this low and actually go to lower prices. That's what would have been interesting about this scenario. So this scenario also goes into the bin, right? Other scenarios that we are looking for here is this one that is looking very interesting. And this comes with the idea that we could be forming a larger corrective structure. And the main idea that we are forming a larger corrective structure potentially, guys, here is because it would be rare, even though there is a valid count here to finish a correction, it would be rare to actually start pumping to all-time highs from this low over here. And the main reason why we were looking at this contracting diagonal is because of time. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in a correction, you want it to, get close to the 382 Fibonacci time or potentially even cross it. But this would be too fast for a correction to suddenly break out here to all-time high. It would be very fast. This is why we are considering a larger corrective structure, because the timing would be much better compared to the massive rally that we had in April. So maybe September is overall going to be bearish, and we're just pumping in the middle of September, right, to trap here the scenario of the inverted head and shoulder, and we're going to absolutely rock it to all-time high. Very skeptical about this situation, guys. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'll have a small long position for it if we just continue ripping, but I'm not buying it, okay? So overall, let's talk about the local price action here and explain how the price could develop if this is the scenario that's going to play out, okay? Now, there is a way of counting this as a 5-wave structure, okay? There is a way of counting a 5-wave move up here with a flat in your wave 2. Then you have the nice little range that we formed throughout the last week in a triangle for your B wave. Now, the thing is about a triangle here, you cannot have a triangle in a wave 2, guys. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. A triangle in a wave 2 does not exist. So you would not expect here a major breakout in a wave 3 if you're considering a triangle. However, just because this range has been extremely choppy and rangy, and there's so many different scenarios that you can fit in here based on Elliott wave theory, that you could have a WXY here also that can be your wave 2. So, I mean, yeah, this is what happens when you're in a big fat range with lots of overlap. The corrective structures are infinite. They can be many. So if this were to be the scenario, the main idea here is what we're looking at is a large WXY, okay? Where you do have, all right, your movement here in a 3-wave structure in a W, okay? Which would be this one right over here. Okay, there is a 3-wave ABC that can be counted with this movement to the downside. I'm not sure if I'm in the middle here, guys, but overall, let's get myself here to the side. There is a way of counting a 3-wave move right over here that would be your wave W, okay? And the main idea right now is, where's that wave X going to finish, right? This could be a good sign. This green box that I have here, where we have the weekly naked point of control. We do have, well, it's the point of control of the range, basically. Previous month open, another naked point of control on the day here. There's a lot of confluency in between 114.6 and 115.8, right? This is like the magic box where the price could really struggle. So as we're pumping to higher levels, let it go, right? Let the price do what it needs to do. It could go to higher levels, just let it go, okay? Now we're gonna focus on the lower time frame based on this scenario, which is literally, you know, trying to understand if this is your A wave and this is your ABCDE triangle, which would be labeled as your B wave. Right now, what you want to see is a 5-wave structure to the upside. You're literally forming a zigzag up because your B wave has just been a big fat range triangle. And now we forming the next wave, which we are going to identify to see if it is going to get that exhaustion. I'm going to explain exactly what I need to see for me to get into the short position, because if we do reject from this area, you know, and this ends up being bearish for the next 1 to 2 weeks and claims below 107k, it's going to be a pretty nice short, guys. It's going to be one of those big shorts. That's where I'm going to make my money here in September. But I'm not into the short yet, right? The price could really move to higher levels. There is a bullish case scenario where it's 1, 2, 3. As explained, there is a way of counting a WXY sideways corrective structure here, not a triangle. There is a way of counting it. I do have it here somewhere. But yeah, anyway, we do have a possibility of this being your wave 1, this being your wave 2, in a WXY right over here. Okay, very possible, because you do have a zigzag down, up, and also a triangle to finish here in your wave Y. You know, there is a valid WXY in this structure. And, you know, maybe that's a wave 2. And then we're just going to rock it, guys. And I'm going to say, wow, well, you know, I'm not going to be putting limit shorts here. I need to see exhaustion, the resistance hit. And I'm going to explain what I need to see here looking at the lower time frame when we are considering this structure. So we are leaving this area, right? The area is we are leaving it right now. I would expect higher prices here on Bitcoin as we are breaking out this resistance, right? You could arguably discuss it's an ascending triangle or an inverted head and shoulder, right? It doesn't matter. Inverted head and shoulders usually fits with an ascending triangle. So you would expect that breakout to go to slightly higher levels eventually here, regardless if it's going to be a failed breakout, right? So I would expect higher prices, you know, if I'm honest with you here. If the price were to reject, in a nutshell, if the price were to reject here, legends, okay, I want to see a big move down, okay? 5-wave structure, big movement to the downside, high volume in the middle, and then eventually the bounce is going to be looking very interesting to detect as a correction. If we do get a big rejection, we get volume increasing on the rejection in the middle of the movement down, the bounce is going to be the golden ticket to get into the 50% golden pocket zone, most commonly, to get into the short position, to expect that wave 3 down, okay, to claim these lows, and eventually 3, 4, and 5, right? That's what you expect to get to lower prices. So no rush on this. No rush, guys. We need the clarity, and the price will give us the clarity to jump into this position if it were to be a, you know, good short position. For the moment, let the price go. So when we do take a look at the lower time frames and we consider this scenario, right? This was the low. We're considering this as your A wave, and you have a running triangle here, which basically the B wave gets on top of your A wave, and you have B, C, D, and E, right? We've got 5 waves here in the triangle, and now we're breaking out. What is in my interest here, in my best interest, is to detect how high we are going to go here. As mentioned, volume is probably increasing here in this wave. This is why, believing that this is a 5-wave move up and a swing failure pattern, and I'm shorting right over here. I told you I wasn't interested in this short because the volume is just increasing. We got major bullish scenarios. We're just breaking out from this major resistance. It's not going to happen, guys. I'm not shorting this swing failure pattern because I realize the upside momentum that we can create here. So it's a pretty bold short position. You're not interested in this short, guys, as mentioned at the beginning of the stream, because, this could happen, right? Very much aware of this scenario. So when we do take a look at the movement up, what we do have is your first leg to the upside and a higher low, right? Pretty simple, easy. You got your first potential wave 1 and wave 2 here. This is still very possibly still part of your wave 3, and it's still developing as you're getting this breakout and the volume increasing. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is still part of your wave 3. What I want to see on this momentum, as the volume is still spiking up here, I need to label all of this still as your wave 3, potentially a 1 2 1 2, 3 4 5 4 5. You're still developing your third wave here, so there's no limit for a third wave. It is common to hit the 1.618. It is common to hit the 2.618 as well. We're just overshooting the 2.618 right now, so there's really no limit for a third wave. When there's volume increasing and you're breaking out, you just need to let it go. Just let it go. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just letting the price do what it needs to do. Could this be the A1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's an extensive fifth wave. The only moment that I will realize that this is an extensive fifth wave is when we get a big movement down in a 5-waver. The moment that we reject like this is the moment that I know, okay, this was the high. Let's try and jump into short positions later on in between 50% and the 7-8. 50% very likely. Usually we don't get bigger bounces. When the price dumps, you know the deal, guys. It's staircase up, elevator down. So when we want to get into the bounce, 50% is more than enough in a downtrend, because very rarely you would get to the 7-8. Price is much more aggressive to the downside than to the upside. So we're going to have to get into a quick bounce once we get that sign of weakness. Anyway, so some scenarios that could be interesting here. You're still developing the third wave as you do have volume increasing. Very much a possibility. Still developing the third wave. Maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you get the fourth wave and then the fifth wave. The moment you get a larger consolidation is the moment that I will be detecting that, okay, maybe this is the end of that fifth wave. And this would be the moment when we do create the fifth wave. Remember, I need a larger consolidation in a fourth wave here. Okay, it needs to be large. It needs to be quite large when we have the highest amount of volume getting developed. It needs to be a pretty large. If it is going to be overlappy, a wedgie structure, that is the moment that I realize that this push to the upside, once it claims the highs of the third wave, is the moment that it's going to reject at some point. This is why up here, when we do create the fourth wave and then the fifth wave, that is the moment. And this is just an overall projection, guys. This is drawing the chart on how I want the price to really, perform. It might not exactly be like this, but maybe similar to this. The moment that we do get that fifth wave is when I do realize, after the big push to the upside today that we've had with the highest amount of volume, is getting exhausted. Okay, and the fifth wave is where I want to speculate on the short. Will it be 115k? Will it be 116k? Well, this is why we have the levels. we have levels where that fifth wave can get rejected, and you need to pay attention to those levels. For example, naked point of control, weekly naked point of control at 115.1k. Maybe the fifth wave is where it gets rejected here after forming that fourth wave. Maybe it's going to be the previous month open, which is sitting just below 116k, 115.7k. Maybe it's going to be that one. If we do break that weekly naked point of control, well, then I'm looking for the previous month open. Previous month and previous week levels, guys, they are banging levels to have on the chart. Yesterday, we faked out from the previous week close. They are banging levels to have as confluence. A lot of people just have naked point of controls, TPO levels. You know, I don't see many people using previous week and previous month levels. Highs, lows, close, open. They are banging levels, guys, to have on the chart to add confluence when you're looking for a trading setup. So as we do have the increased high volume right now at the moment, I realize that this momentum can continue. It can continue till we actually form that wave 4. Just a large, shallow corrective structure. We could actually bounce here at the resistance, flipping it into support. Once we create some more highs, maybe it forms something like this. I do not know, but I do know that if we do correct here, and then we get a squeeze move up in that wave 5, that will be the end for me of that 5-wave impulsive move. And I'm speculating on the top of the 5th wave. Why are you speculating on the top of a 5th wave if the price is bullish, you may ask? It's because of this scenario right over here. The larger potential 3-wave structure, okay, which eventually is an ABC, and on slightly higher time frames, what we are looking at is a potential X wave to finish a zigzag down, zigzag up, and another zigzag down in a larger WXY. This is why this local price action, how it is developed in between today and tomorrow, is very interesting for me. Very interesting. I will be looking at this movement because I haven't traded Bitcoin for a week right now. I've compounded into the long. The main target was 113.5k. This was a long position taken last week here. This was this same long position right there. I mean, $15,000 in a week is not too bad. It might be 20k if we do get another push up. But overall, it's been a week of a swing trade that was provided in the VIP group and in the Legends Pro community. I was asking today how many people are still in that long, and it was about 50%. Some people already took profit from the Legends Pro. Anyway, I am getting ready for a new big trade, which I want to make it, you know, $50,000-$60,000 profit at least, maybe 100,000. You know, I'm kind of chasing that 100,000 profit on the swing trades. Latest one on Ethereum was 60,000 at the moment. Could be 70,000 if I do just close the rest of the short. But I'm, you know, that's my main target for a swing trade that could last 1, 2, 3 weeks. And I am getting ready for the next one here eventually with the Legends Pro or the VIP. If you are interested in that, okay, make sure to join right away the VIP. We also have Dylan here with some awesome trading scenarios, okay, in the VIP and also the Legends Pro community. Send me a DM right away, join the Telegram down below, and let's hop you in my journey, okay, of taking these trading setups. They're mainly swing trade positions that I am taking. So they are, you need to remain patient, wait for clarity, and then execute with precision. And I'm sharing them, you know, in the Legends Pro. You know where I made most of my money in the last 2 months? When we talk about trading is because, yeah, I mean, I've got other investments and other stuff eventually. But when we talk about trading, this movement on Bitcoin is where I made $100,000, $101,000 to be exact. So I'm, you know, this was a long time ago, right? This was in, you know, beginning of August till, you know, the second, third week of August where it was a swing trade. I know some people that are following the channel do know that this was my main big position. Okay, nice movement of almost 10%. And then my other big trade that I took last month was the Ethereum short, which is, this one that I still have part open, which was a, failed breakout from all-time high, which was very likely to happen. We can do some Ethereum analysis later on. For me, it did not make sense after this movement that we are unlikely going to successfully go to higher levels here. Unlikely, very unlikely. And I'm looking for a short to get to the low 4K levels with the potential to get below $4,000. But I mean, it's been very, very boring for over a week here on Ethereum. So I just decided that, we could get a bounce, maybe then go down later on. We might get a short later on Ethereum. Not interested in long in here at the moment, based on Bitcoin, that we could form a larger corrective structure. So that's a little bit of the plan here. That's where we do have a lot of resistance, okay? When we do consider the value area low, okay? Previous month open, we do have also naked point of controls, okay? In this zone, one being a weekly, one being a daily one. Lot of resistance here. That's where I want to see the chop. That's where I want to see the possibility of that fifth wave finishing, okay? You know what? Maybe the price doesn't reach this zone. That is a possibility. Maybe the price doesn't actually continue pumping. And I need to explain, this is no zone to get into a long, guys. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I personally don't like the idea of jumping into a long position here after sweeping the highs of the last few weeks. It's just not a great idea. Where's your stop loss? Are you going to add to the position? The risk of moving down here aggressively is too big, okay? So eventually, if you want a long, you want a long here, right? Based on yesterday's live stream, right? No short, no long in this zone. If you come down to the point of control, right, below 111K, you sweep up the lows, you manage to get acceptance back above, that's where you want a long, stop beneath the low. This is exactly what's happened, guys, in the last 24 hours. Wait for the biggest level, sweep some liquidity, and then hop into the long later on, right? So, yeah. The overall question right now. But Andy, what if the price does not come all the way up here? Because this could actually be already the wave C, right? Which is basically that X wave from the higher time frame, right? This could be the X wave already, and it's the finish of the zigzag structure. Because the minimum target of that zigzag is taking out the local highs. I mean, this was already taken, but because you have a running triangle, you want to create at least a little bit more of a high from the range. It would be short, it would be shallow. I would be surprised if this is the end of the zigzag. The minimum target has been hit, which is getting above the highs. You can count a 5 waver. It would be quite fast. When we compare this wave with this one, a bit too fast, a bit too shallow. So, I mean, preferably we do get a little bit more squeeze to the upside, form your 4th wave, then your 5th wave, right? And then this would be a little bit more symmetrical, right? With this wave right over here. After this large consolidation triangle, boom, pop up here. I want to remain patient still here for the short. There's no rush, guys. The price will give us the information that we need to take the trade. So, patience, guys. Patience is required very much in trading if you want to make it. All of the people that want to scalp and get into many trades every single day are the ones that are destined to fail. They're the ones that are not going to have these massive P&Ls and this incredible track record, because they are in a rush to make money. If you're in a rush to make money and get into many trades every single day, you have more probabilities in losing. It's facts, guys. Not everybody makes it as a trader. It's very, very difficult. I take it as a it's a plan B or a plan C. At this point in my life, eventually, it's just another way of getting another income, but you need to be very, very professional and very, very patient in getting into those trading setups, because, scalping is very, very difficult. All right. And you need to be very, very careful with, getting into many trades a day. You're going to start getting into losing trades. You want to revenge trade, and you can get into a very quick death spiral, which is, usually when you burn your accounts. I've made all of the mistakes that you could imagine in trading, guys. So you learn from those mistakes, and you just get into high probability setups with good risk management. So, I'm not interested where we're currently at in either jumping into a long, because I'm already in a long from here, and I compounded as we got supported in a nice bounce, based on yesterday's video update. I was ready to compound into that long with the bounce here. Maybe some of you jumped into that long position on the point of control. It's all about waiting for the best levels, right? So the main question is here, what if we roll over? This is an, unpredictable area to get into a short. Let's be honest. You're above the local highs, so it makes sense to actually go to higher levels. It does make sense to go to higher levels. You are above the highs of the range. Shorting here is like taking the risk, right? You're taking the risk here to short, and to long, you're a little bit late into the game, right? This could easily be a fake out. So this is what I call a non-trading zone. Non-trading zone. No trading zone. You're just barely breaking out here from the highs of the last couple of weeks. We're looking for higher levels potentially, and you can reject very aggressively as well. So it's a little bit of a gamble. If you like gambling, then, take your shot here as a short or a long. But I'm not interested in that, because I want clarity on the chart. So as explained before, this is one wave, this is another wave, and now we're just forming our next wave. Could it finish here and we already reject? Absolutely. It's already hit the minimum target of a 3-wave zigzag, which is taking out the highs. Maybe yes. I would prefer to see a little bit of more price action to the upside, but maybe it does roll over from here. Now, this is where the second plan becomes very interesting. If we do not create that, continuation, 4th wave and another 5th wave, where we can count here nicely a 5-wave structure, where I can detect to either short an SFP from the naked point of control, from the weekly naked point of control. These are going to be my prime levels to try and detect that 5th wave, to then speculate on a 3-wave zigzag, and then start looking for the movement down to try and short the highs, right? Which becomes very, very complex. Always, sometimes you can catch the lows, sometimes you can catch the highs. Many times you don't. Because you're waiting for the level, and the price suddenly just, goes to the downside, and it starts rejecting very aggressively. So then you need to create another plan. Oh man, I was waiting for this zone. I was waiting for this price action to develop. I didn't manage to get into the short. So we need to create a plan. If we do reject from here very aggressively, I want to see that dumpage. I want to see the big breakdown. That's what I want to see. And this breakdown on the 15-minute time frame needs to form some kind of a 5-wave structure. I do realize where we at right now, that if this momentum to the upside fails to continue with shallow pullbacks, and we do get a strong rejection down, this is going to be the start of a new downtrend of the last few weeks. Because you finished your major uptrend here. Your major 3-wave structure has been finished, especially if you claim the higher lows of yesterday and break this uptrend structure. This is pure market structure, basically, because you have, higher highs, higher lows, higher low, higher high. This is your last higher low. when you create a higher low and a higher high, this is your last higher low. If you touch this level with a big impulsive move, this is the initial waves of your downtrend. And when you're downtrending, you do not want to get into short down here. You want to get into the short, try and get into the second wave, right? Or the B wave or the X wave. You want to get into the second wave, basically, because you want to be part of this wave. So it's all about detecting that sign of weakness now, right? We need to detect this. You know why I got into the long position here, guys? Even though a double bottom was already interesting, okay? We mentioned this last week on YouTube. We talked about the double bottom here at the anchored VWAP and the range point of control. But where I joined the long is when we broke the structure. When we pumped here and retraced, that's where I longed, stop loss at the low, and was looking for this rally. So I realized on the sign of strength and on the retracement that I'm going to participate in this, right? You don't want a long here. You don't want a long here. You want a long on the first wave retracement. The first wave retracement, regardless if it's up, you want to be in this wave or down, right? You want to get into the retracement. So the main idea here, if we do not continue pumping with shallow consolidations with that potential 4 or 5, if we get that first leg sign of weakness and this higher low is claimed with a strong impulsive move down, the bounce is going to be the golden ticket, because this will mean that a new downtrend is likely going to happen, and we are targeting 107.2k at a bare minimum. I mean, I would expect a breakdown from here to go to lower levels, but that's the first main target. Sweep up the lows, 107.2k. We need this first move down to break the uptrend structure, right? This is information that we need as a trader. If we did not catch the highs, if we did not catch the high here for a short, and we did not come to our major levels of resistance as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, try and detect that fifth wave where it should get exhausted, we need that information, which is the break of structure in a big impulsive move. And this is when you zoom out on the chart, right? This is when you zoom out and you realize that, hey, you know, we're looking at this to be a 3-wave move, right? At the end of the day, you want to try and simplify it. You got a move up, even though it's very choppy and nobody knows what the heck was going on in here. There's too many scenarios. But you want to simplify that this was one wave. This range in a triangle was your second wave, regardless, and a B or an X or whatever. It's your second wave. This is your first one. This is your second one. And now you're developing your third one, which we are going to label as a wave C. If it is a triangle, it could not have a triangle in a wave 2. So it looks pretty interesting for this scenario to be an ABC. So we do know that this could be the, you know, end stages of that 3-wave move up. Will it top out at 114, 115, 116? I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I need that structure that I've explained here, which is that 1, 2. You're in the third wave still, guys, until we do get a larger range in a wave 4, very large, potentially 2 days, potentially between today and tomorrow. And then we create one more high. This will be the moment that I know that this could be the end of a 5-wave structure, which could complete that wave X, wave C basically, right? Because this is what we're looking at, A, B, and C. We're going to try and catch the highs. Don't get me wrong here. You know, I'm here to try and catch the highs, legends. But if it's not catched, I'm not worried about catching the highs. Okay, because I will get in later on. But first of all, we need that sign of weakness. So just like this one, I did not get into a double bottom here. And this was mentioned on YouTube. I mean, this happened at about 6 o'clock in the morning, my time. We was just quite waking up at that time. And we got an epic bounce. So I missed catching the low here. I missed catching the double bottom and stop loss at the low, right? We keep it clear here. However, we got the sign of strength, corrective structure, and this is where I entered my long position. So I didn't catch the low, but I catched the higher low from the second wave to get into this momentum. So the same applies here. If I don't get that information that I need, which we're still developing the third wave, this could go to higher levels. We get a large correction fourth, and then the fifth wave, I'm interested in shorting the fifth wave, either the weekly naked point of control or naked point of control. I need more info here. If the price gets that rejection, then I'll have to jump in later on here at some point on the bounce. It doesn't matter if you're shorting here or if you're shorting here if your target is taking out this low. I mean, the difference is not that much. It's not that much of a difference. And this is actually going to be a safer short position once you get the information of the break of structure in a 5-wave impulse. And the same applies from this movement here. Break of structure, correction, bang. Your second wave is where you're interested in if you did not catch the double bottom. So that's a little bit of what I'm looking at here, guys. As long as we do not get that fourth wave, not interested in any short positions right now at the moment, because I do think that we're going to pump a few $1,000 more. 114, 115, 116 maybe. Let's take a look at the liquidity map. This is interesting. We are building quite nice liquidity to the downside. I mean, this is the get above 114k at least, maybe 115k. Sweep up all of this liquidity. That would be kind of in confluence with the analysis that we are making here. Get that extra push, get a bit more liquidity, create your fourth wave, get your fifth wave, right? And then look for the rejection at these major levels. Maybe we can catch the high. We're going to see in the next 24 hours or the next 1 to 2 days. Tomorrow is a very interesting day, guys. Make sure to destroy the like button. Remember, if we do get to 500 likes, we are going to be giving $500 on stream, guys. Holy moly. It is getting harder to get the likes, but I will give $500 from my bluffing account directly from this Bitcoin long profits. We're just going to give $500 if we get 500 likes. Okay, so smash it up right away. If you are interested in trading, bluffing for me is one of the best exchanges that just requires an email and a password. You just require an email and a password here. You get 10% cash back on your deposit, guys, up to $3,000. If you deposit 30K, you're getting 3K on top of that. You got also VIP 1, VIP 2, depending on what you deposit, that reduces your fees drastically, guys. You get access to that with the pinned comment or the second link down below for bluffing, okay? If you sign up with that link, you're getting all of these perks. Sign up to Weeks as well if you don't like bluffing. Weeks does launch many different altcoins. I think it's one of the fastest exchanges, okay, that launches these cryptos, and you get many perks here, as you can see. And if you do sign up and do a minimum deposit, you'll get access to the VIP where I share my Bitcoin and Ethereum trade positions, guys. Okay, just for anybody that wants to feel confident in that, by signing up through those exchanges, you get access directly to the Telegram. And these are the trades that I've shared throughout the last few weeks. The Ethereum short, the Bitcoin long to all-time high, this long last week, okay, on Bitcoin. Also to get this momentum, targeting 113.5. We did take profit on the way, okay? We did take profit on the way and compounded into that long position for this possible, test of 113.5K. Let's go right away through the comment section, see what the legends are saying. Liked the stream, absolute legend there. Much love to you, brother. If we get to 500 likes, it's time to give some money away, right? Let's see if we do get all the way up there. Pac-Man, much love to you. Against aren't playing, they want your money and they have the power to take it. Work hard, educate yourself, and that's the only way you'll ever outsmart them and make money. Pac-Man, very true. Risk management, risk management, risk management. Absolutely. You know, somebody was saying today on the stream, eventually the 113.5k was a short position. Anyone with basic knowledge would assume that this is a swing failure pattern level. This is a swing failure pattern right over here. Anyone would take it. Anyone. Well, then you have the overall bullish people as well that are just saying that we're just breaking the neckline. I'm not a fan of breaking a neckline of an inverted head and shoulder, if I'm honest with you. Long time since I don't trade this. But yeah, maybe some people jump, you know, people will probably be jumping into longs. But also into shorts, right? There's going to be a lot of people believing that I'm not buying this inverted head and shoulder, which you do have in the market. You know, you have those people that think they are smart, saying people think that this is an inverted head and shoulder and they're going to be long in the breakout. Ha ha ha, I'm going to short. And then the price really does rip a few $1,000s. You're like, oh, you know, I was better off in taking a long, right? On the inverted head and shoulder. So you're going to have both traders here participating eventually in this neckline, which is, you know, I mean, it's not interested in doing anything here. Not interested in doing anything. You're going to, if you jumped into a long position, the problem is your stop. You just have to have a stop here. And if you pump a little bit, then you obviously protect position. You kind of chase the breakout. You know, not my favorite way of trading, if I'm honest, but you know, there are ways. Could have jumped into the long, bit of volatility here, protect position, get stopped out, break even. It's just not a trade to handle. It's not a zone to handle as a trader, guys. It's not a zone to do anything really. I don't know how to trade this. Anyway, it's not part of my strategy and part of my trading. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Let's see if we do get up there. As explained, guys, for me, it's simple. If we don't get it, it doesn't matter. I'll look for another plan. But overall, what I'm looking for here is that we are still developing that third wave. High increasing volume. Nobody knows where this is going to finish. Nobody knows. It could pump another $2,000. Nobody knows where it's going to finish. When it finishes, you know, this is the moment that I would speculate. I don't know if it's going to be a 1 2 1 2 3 4 and 5 4 and 5, right? Maybe this is a double 1 2. We need this big breakout to start stopping at some stage. It needs to start stopping. When it starts stopping, that's the moment that we can speculate. Okay, you got 1 4 here, 1 more 5, double top. We can speculate on that short potentially. You could need to take into consideration that this is another 1 2. So you got a double 1 2, maybe another 4 in, another 5 coming into the resistance. The moment you get these double triple tops in this zone, that's the moment that I'm going to be ready. I don't mind getting stopped out once, because the moment this does, you know, this is the high. The swing trade is going to be epic. The swing trade will be epic. Down to 107k. If we do not get this price action, I will not get into the short, guys. You know, there is a valid count that this might be the low. I mean, this was discussed in the last few weeks, where regardless if it's going to be this one right over here, this would be a bit too shallow as explained on the higher time frame, but there is a possibility that maybe it's just a regular zigzag ABC, your C wave finishing here in a contracting diagonal. Maybe it's just the 3-wave structure, it's the end, and this is overall bullish. You got wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 is going to rip here throughout the next coming days. I don't believe so, guys. But maybe it does happen and we actually rip. You got an ABC here, and you also have the WXY, which I have Where is it? I don't know what's happened here with my folders. Yeah, there it is. This one right over here. You know, there is a way also of counting this as a WXY or an ABC. And there is a way of counting a wave 1 here, a wave 2 in a WXY instead of the triangle. And maybe we're developing the third wave, you guys, and it's going to rip. So you need to take what I am saying with a grain of salt. And what I need to see with the price action to me to get into the short. Because maybe the low is in here and we rip throughout the next week to all-time high, which I do not think it's going to happen, guys. Okay? But you just need to be aware that it is a possibility. I won't be in the short if we just continue ripping. I will be waiting for what I explained, guys. Guys, it is incredibly crucial that you understand this. It is incredibly crucial that you understand what I explained here. That we need that correction. Okay, that 4 and 5, you know, 4 and 5. Maybe this is a 1-2-1-2. The highest amount of volume is developing here. So trying to short here the pump and, you know, getting into a high is suicidal. It is suicidal because it might pump another few $1,000s in the next 1 to 2 days. You do not want to be underwater. You don't want to risk too much. You can get emotional and you can make mistakes. Remain patient to wait for what I explained here, which is that 4th wave, 5th wave, 4 and 5. You might get 2, 4 and 5s because there could be a 1-2-1-2 here. The biggest amount of volume right now is developing in this middle pump, right? So wait for the consolidations, wait for the little retracements and one high, another retracement. That's when you know that this is getting exhausted and that we're looking potentially for a rollover. Till that doesn't happen, we just go higher, right? We just go higher. And if we get an aggressive correction, you know, move down here, like very aggressive in the next 1 to 2 days, then we just have to, you know, look at the bounce, you know, and hop into the short later on. It doesn't matter. But a new downtrend could be on the formation if we get this rejection at some point. So no major rush here. No major rush. I will be leaving some of that swing long position for a hedge because I you know, at some point I will get into a short. At some point I will get into a short. Taking profits at 113.5k. We'll leave a small, you know, 25% open here. Just to hedge basically for the big short. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Let's go. If you entered the long position from yesterday, there was no short entries provided today, either in the Legends Pro or the VIP. I did not enter any single short, either here, or either here. Longs were more interesting. I actually added to the long position that was here from last week to maximize profit, realizing that the high probability was to take out 113.5. So no shorts were taken. If you did watch yesterday's video on YouTube, we did get this move and we did bounce exactly at this level, guys. Somebody said from Mexico that he did get into the long, made $400. Absolutely awesome. Very happy for you. Yeah, let's go right away. Black Friday deal. Ethereum is coming for Andy's stop loss. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I mean, my stop loss on Ethereum is at break even. So, I mean, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at the Ethereum trade. I have to say that most of the profits have been taken here on Ethereum, okay? Most of the profits have been taken on the Ethereum short from all-time high rejection, okay? So, you know, I'll be more than happy if it, you know, if it just gets stopped out. I don't think it's not going to get all the way up there. I think a lower high is likely on Ethereum, just because it's likely for Bitcoin as well. I might be adding to that short position if I'm honest. We'll see. So it would be stop loss at break even, not stop loss. Anyway, yes, long from yesterday, says Daniel. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome, Daniel. I mean, we just bounced at the point of control. Sometimes we need to leave Elliott wave theory on the side, guys, when it's very choppy and very confusing. But holy moly, this was it, guys, from yesterday's video on YouTube, right? I added to the position. I didn't exactly get into this long. This happened very early this morning, okay, or late last night, where we did get the reaction here. So I only added to the position as we got the pump from the long position here. I just, added to the long, realizing that we're likely going to take out 113.5. But whoever got into that long yesterday on the reaction of the point of control to take out the highs, literally this V-shaped recovery. Muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. La puta madre. Let's get to 500 likes because we'll be doing a giveaway, guys, of $500. If we get to 500 likes, smash up the like button. If you do enjoy the content, guys, we just provide the scenarios, what I want to see, the levels. What else can we do? Sharing the P&L, the gains that I made in the last 30 days. What can we do more? Sharing the trades, sharing the scenarios. What else can we do, guys? Just give me your account and I'll trade for you, right? That's the only thing that we need. Anyway, let's continue through. We hit the 382 already. Yes, very true. We did hit the 382 already from all-time high. Like I said, guys, I do believe. We also got the 50% Fibonacci all the way up here at 115.8, which is with the previous month close of August. That is interesting. Previous month open, sorry. That is an interesting level with the 50% Fibonacci from all-time high. The 382 from all-time high has been hit. As mentioned, this is a very fresh wave, okay? It's very fresh. We had a major large consolidation for the last, what was it? 6-7 days. Leg up, sideways momentum, and now a new leg to the upside. Let it cook. Let it cook. How is it going to cook? Well, it might create a 4 and a 5 coming to the resistance levels, naked point of control. Let it cook. We only got a big spike with volume just breaking out from the zone today. Let it cook. There will be good information between today and tomorrow where we can analyze very carefully our next trade setup. Let it cook. There's no rush. Okay, no rush in doing anything here. You wait and see, guys. I will show you the trade in the next few days. Okay. Let's wait for the information. First of all, smash up that like button. Let's go through the comment section. We can take a look at some altcoins. I'm just going to take a drink of water right now and we'll come back in the next 10 seconds. Okay. ICP. My beloved ICP. Yeah, I've got a significant bag on ICP and I am concerned about ICP testing the lows at $4.20. But I would just be more than happy, guys. ICP is an awesome project, not like Umbrella. We got busted on Umbrella, guys. But as it was a small percentage of portfolio, I don't give a damn, really. It's just a risk that you do take. Taking a bit of a bigger risk on ICP. ICP has a high chance, in my opinion, to claim $4.20. I think there is a high chance that we do claim this low. And the problem is with ICP is that there's not a proper impulsive move here to the upside. It's just not looking great. There's no expanding diagonal. The fifth wave is not longer than the third wave. So yeah, it's just doesn't look great for this to be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2. It just doesn't look great. lots of overlap. It does look very corrective. It's not the kind of structure that you create to form a nice uptrend. It's just very likely going to claim the lows, I have to say. Very likely it's going to claim below 420. Just be ready for it. I'm ready for it mentally. I'm very much aware that that's going to happen. But what I'm ready also for is the spring point. Sweep up the low, get a bullish reaction, get into the retracement. That is where I'm going in heavily on spot, guys. I might get into a swing long here potentially if we get this price action, because this could be the swing long. This could be the swing long level, just like Chainlink created that swing long level back in 2023. Who remembers this? We talked about this spring point for over a year, almost a year, guys. We were talking about, you know, when are we going to take out the lows? When are we going to create that spring point in a Wyckoff accumulation? It was almost a year, guys. We were talking about the spring point here for Chainlink. Who remembers this? Any legit follower will remember this. Over a year, almost a year, guys, not over a year, but it was, you know, part of 2022 and 2023, where we're talking about Chainlink was just chopping around and dancing and fucking around here around this $5-9 range. And we understood that it wasn't looking great for a new impulse. You know, it was just very choppy and very rangy. And we're likely going to create that spring point at some point where, you know, I accumulated more. I realized this was the scenario. Got, you know, bought so much Chainlink, guys, throughout this range. And obviously with that last accumulation, once we created the spring point, you have no kind of bullish, you know, this is not the start of a major rally. This is not the kind of price action that you want for a start of a rally. When you're ranging and you're overlapping like this, there's a high chance you're going to take out the low. So you just take out the low, create that spring point, off you go to Valhalla. So I'm super happy with the Chainlink profits on spot bag. I mean, it's a 4x on average, which is all good. All good. Chainlink is a big, large percentage of my portfolio, over 10%. So yeah, we're doing okay on Chainlink. It's up over a 4x. So that is the main question here on ICP, right? When is that spring point going to happen? I'm not going to sell my ICP from here. I don't care. I'll just hold on the unrealized losses just in case it doesn't create that spring point. But this is not common price action to start a new impulse. Very overlappy. There's no good way of counting an impulse in this zone. So let's get the spring point. Let's get the spring point. I bought inside of this range throughout the last few months on an average of $5, give or take $5.50. I don't care being in a 20% loss, 25% unrealized loss. I would be happy to buy some more at the spring point. So yeah, will that happen, you know, this month, next month, or will it not happen? Will it be a regular accumulation without a spring point? I mean, this is why it's not worth it. As a spot bag, it's not worth it. It's not worth it as a spot bag. I would rather wait, you know, hold the unrealized losses just in case we do actually rally from here. You know, and that's, you know, you can count some kind of an impulse here, which, you know, you can't fit in nicely. Let's be honest. That movement right there, you know, your wave 5 is shorter than your wave 3. So, you know, there's no proper impulse here to the upside that you can identify. You have this massive, you know, sweep of the higher lows. So it's just not looking great. Could be forming a WXY sideways corrective structure and just, you know, finish the game here by forming a kind of a contracting diagonal here, you know, to finish that wave and then form the spring point. And then, yeah, this is the moment we're going to be interested in. So it's probably going to happen in the next few weeks. We'll identify. I am watching ICP, so we'll try and identify that later on. I sold my umbrella months ago. Yeah, umbrella. We got busted. I got busted with you, legend. Got with umbrella. You know, it is what it is, right? This is why it was a small percentage, but Chainlink is doing pretty good. Chainlink is offsetting the loss of umbrella. Let's go right away. AVAX analysis, please. Muchas gracias, says Arvid. Let's take a look at Avalanche. We need Solana TA. Who remembers Solana? We can take a look at Solana, the big ones, Solana, Avalanche. Who remembers? Guys, who remembers the analysis on Solana in the last couple of weeks? We did pull out Solana on a chart, on a live stream. This actually looks pretty insane. Solana looks pretty insane. You got an ascending wedge, which most will rely on a bearish pennant, a bearish ascending wedge. But we were analyzing very carefully this momentum as a multiple 1-2 setup that has absolutely incredible probabilities in breaking out here. And we were testing the highs. I think Solana is highly likely going to push to higher levels. I mean, you're obviously going to find some resistance potentially in this zone. Probably can get some quick rejections if TradingView is playing ball here. But yeah, we got the point of control of this range, right? Naked point of control, weekly point of control if you wish, which is sitting at 236, which we might get some reaction there. But overall, Solana, when we were hitting the highs here a couple of weeks ago, who remembers the Solana analysis where we were talking about a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, another 1-2 and another 1-2 here? And when we were taking out the highs, we talked about if we do not break here, we might get a retracement to the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci zone of the last higher low and the last high, and then get the breakout later on in 1 to 2 weeks. Multiple 1-2 building up. The movements to the upside look very impulsive. And yeah, from the latest analysis, I will find that stream, guys. It's probably from Thursday or Friday, the 28th, 29th of August. When I was doing the analysis, we were trading at this zone, and we talked about getting on the retracement to the 50% golden pocket zone. Might hit 7/8. Stop loss beneath this higher low. If this low was taken, we would consider a flat scenario and just jump into the SFP from this low to take out the highs later on. I mean, this pumped. What's the percentage? Yeah, 15% plus. We're just looking for higher levels. We're breaking out. If we do not go to higher levels with this pump, I would consider another higher low possibility. Entry, stop loss at the low. If you stopped out, look for the possible flat structure to just form a larger 1-2 here. But if we do get one more retracement, this is really bubbling up, guys, for a massive breakout. Massive move up. Massive move up. I would expect Solana to really rip here. It's maybe time for the high caps to show some, the shining light here. Remember what they say, right? Based on this, it is really time for high caps to really shine. So when we consider this, right, which you must have seen back and forward throughout X and your favorite YouTube out there, Bitcoin first. Major rally on Bitcoin, all-time high in the last 2 years, right? Big pumps throughout the last few months. Ethereum just hit all-time high a couple of weeks ago. Large cap coins. Solana, Avalanche, Cardano, right? All of these famous high cap L1s, mainly L1s, is where you're looking for that transition, right? So with this chart on Solana, let me know down in below in the description, guys, in the comment section, if you remember the analysis that we made on a stream. getting on. Same here will apply, guys. There's nothing to do here. You should be in that long already. Or, you know, we talked about the retracement. I'll tell you what, if we retrace back down to the 50% golden pocket zone from the last swing high or low, from the high that we create, you want to be interested in getting in here. Stop loss at the last high or low. If you do get stopped out, consider a flat, because it might just create that flat. Re-enter, stop loss at the low. You're going to maximize your profits in a 1 to 2 weeks from your stop loss. You'll be paying yourself 4, 5, 6 times your stop loss. Don't worry about that. But we already mentioned this, that this has high potential of breaking out based on the multiple 1-2s. And while we were hitting the highs, we said it might break out here. There's nothing to do here. It might reject, it might break out. If it does reject, based on the structure here of multiple 1-2s, you want to get in most commonly where you do retrace too, and multiple 1-2s. Let's just take a look at the last pivot swing highs and swing lows. This one, this one, this one, right? Fibonacci from this pivot low to this pivot high, 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 and from this pivot low to this pivot high. Let's just take a look at the Fibonacci retracement, and based on 1-2s, your most common retracement for a wave 2 is in between 50% and the 7/8 Fibonacci. Let's see, golden pocket, right, which is in the middle. This pivot low to the pivot high, golden pocket, tick. Golden pocket, tick right over there. This pivot low to this pivot high. Golden pocket, tick. This pivot low to this pivot high. Golden pocket. Golden pocket. 61865. This pivot low to this pivot high. Golden pocket. Golden pocket. From this pivot low to this pivot high. Let's take a look at the next one, which is the one we analyzed just 2 weeks ago. Which one did we hit? Golden pocket, guys. Golden pocket. All the golden pockets were hit from the last swing highs and swing lows. So, I mean, this was your entry. We did talk about this on the 28th or 29th. I'll pull out that live stream on the next live stream, okay? Must have been on the 28th or 29th, but this was your golden zone to get into a trade. Stop loss at the low. If you get stopped out, consider a flat. Re-enter again. You're targeting the highs. So I expect higher for Solana, and the next plan would be retrace down to the golden pocket from the last swing high. I mean, yeah, I would consider this pivot. Maybe it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you're going to retrace the golden pocket again, and then obviously, you know, you look for that rally later on in the next coming weeks. So that would be the plan here. There's nothing to do. All of the golden pockets here provided support, so why not a next one? Why not the next one? And if you do nuke down, just get stopped out. You know, at the end of the day, it wasn't a multiple 1-2, but manage risk. Consider a flat here. If you do sweep up these lows and get a reaction, I would consider a flat. I would consider a possible flat here for that 1-2, and then along here, eventually target the highs, stop loss at the low. Same scenario, but it looks very bullish. This might be the one that actually continues to the upside. Let's go through the comment section. Smash up the like if you do enjoy the content. Let's go. Solana TA is interesting. We're just breaking out here. So it either retraces again and forms a higher low and then breaks out in the next 1 to 2 weeks, or this is the actual breakout. So there's nothing to do here. Nothing to do on Solana. There was last week something to do with Solana and targeting the highs. Nothing to do right now. This could really just continue ripping. If you do retrace to the golden pocket zone, 50% to 7/8, could be your last chance before it actually breaks out. And most of the people would see this as a bearish ascending wedge, right? Most of the people would see it as a bearish ascending wedge, but it's but apparently it's not. Total 3 breakout. That's interesting chart to take a look at. Let's take a look at the total 3 legends. What's going on? Total 3 looks, it looks good, guys. I do expect this is what we're looking at for the total 3, guys. A massive ascending contracting diagonal, which we are at the last, this is the moment, guys, into Q4, maybe Q1 of 2026, where we do get that last rally. I think a few $1 trillion will push into crypto. Okay. And that would be, we are following a major bear market of a few years. But I think at least 2 to 3 trillion into the altcoins. I know it sounds unrealistic, but we've seen this before. And when we consider the total 3, it's your last leg up here to claim those highs. I mean, hopefully we do get a nice push up. Here. But yeah, stay cautious because a bear market will come, guys. A big bear market will come. And we don't want people to be trapped, but we are looking for that last leg up, which potentially is Q4 into Q1 of 2026. Hopefully Chainlink is going to break above $30. That's when I'm going to start selling. I have it pretty clear here. I am going to be selling about 30% of my Chainlink, as soon as we cross $30. I've had it. I will leave a moon bag eventually to see if we do claim all-time high, which I think there is a high chance. And then I will start unloading at all-time high, 10%, 20%. But first take profit, I've had enough, is going to be at this high. I mean, if we smash through the highs and we correct, I will probably not sell. But if we claim the highs, get beneath, I'm just going to sell 30% above $30. That's my plan. Been waiting too long, guys. Too long on this. I started buying Chainlink in 2019 at $1.60 was my first purchase of Chainlinks. And this major range, which is where I accumulated most of my Chainlink. And it's been years right now. So we want to have some cash. And take some profits on Chainlink. Okay, if you are a legit long follower, you know that we've been very bullish on Chainlink, and this was our main zone of accumulation. And I mean, it's a 4-5x. It's a good investment, good returns in 2 years. It's not a 20x or a 30x, but let's be happy with 4-5x. If you did invest, $10, $20, $30,000 or $100,000, then you're making some pretty good gains on that side on Chainlink. So we should be happy. Sir, check MYX. MYX, is that the one that's been absolutely flying? Yeah, this one's flying. Okay, this one is flying. Is that the I think it's the decentralized, right? There's nothing to check about this. This is just going absolutely ballistic. There's nothing to check on this one. Decentralized exchange crypto, which is just going through the roof here. And this one did over a 50x in the last couple of months, which whoever got into this, absolutely awesome. Making insane gains. In just 2 months, it's doing it's doing over a 20x. Sorry, my bad. It was trading at 10 cents back in July. Currently at $17. Yeah, absolutely insane. This did over 100x, actually. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely ballistic. Whoever bought this in July is making bank. If you're looking for the altcoin season, you got it right over here, guys. You should have invested in this crypto. MYX. Yeah, just in the first week of just last week, guys, over a 16x. You know, this was the crypto to be in, right? This was the crypto to be in as spot bags. So whoever had 100x in 2 months, over 100x. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Good enough for me starting here. Miguel Lamora, much love. Selling my link at 29. Yes. Yeah, I waited a few years to sell some at over a 5x. And then you have this crypto that's done 100x in 2 months. Over 100x in 2 months. Guys, come on. Why didn't we buy this? Maybe some of you did buy this a few months ago. I didn't buy any. I've been waiting 2-3 years for a 5x on Chainlink, and then you got this bad boy over here making over 100x in 2 months. You know, this is crypto, baby. People are shorting MYX getting liquidated. Yeah, this is not the kind of chart that you want to short. It is getting choppy here. It is starting to round off. Local double triple tops here is without a doubt the zone that you want to start to be interested in a big major pullback. This is what you want to see as exhaustion, and the double triple tops is where you want to speculate with tight stop losses. Okay, if you get stopped out, another double top, boom, stop loss, protect position. There will be one that could be the one that actually breaks down the structure, you know. Now, this is the moment that it looks quite interesting. But manage risk. It's not worth shorting, adding to shorts. It's not worth it, guys, because, you know, this could rip still. Well, this is the moment where it starts looking interesting to get into the local double tops. Move down, stop loss to break even. Right? So it is starting to get a bit of choppiness. It's almost like cheating is what it feels like. We work so hard and here comes MYX. Very true. Very true. Then here comes MYX with over 100x in 2 months. Yeah, I mean, this is, I would have been happy to put $100,000 2 months ago, right? It's very easy to say that. In July, I would have, would have been nice to put 100K down here, make over $10 million in 2 months, right? Yeah, this is what you get in crypto. You just need to be in the right one, right? You need to be in the right one, which is sometimes you need to take those risks. I'm happy with a 5x, with a 10x on some of them. I am expecting a 5-10x on ICP. So, yeah, let's see if that does happen. I do believe so. It's going to happen. This is why I have significant money inside of ICP as well. You know, I would be more than happy with a 5x because I haven't put $10,000 on ICP or 50. You know, I've got significant money there, and you know, if it does a 5 to 10x, I'll be more than happy. But yeah, MYX. This is silly chart. Something must have happened, and supposedly it's a decentralized exchange. I'm not sure. There might have been massive liquidity providers or something. I have no idea. The thing with decentralized exchanges, some of them have liquidity issues. I do think that decentralized exchanges is the future for the next coming years, for sure. But a lot of them have some liquidity issues for the moment, which I think will be solved in the next coming years. The ones that don't have liquidity issues are the centralized ones, you know, such as Bluffin and Weeks, which you do get great bonuses down below. Okay, highly liquid, no spreads, no liquidity issues on these big exchanges. Check out the links down below, guys. You get 10% cash back on Bluffin. On Weeks, you do get also, 100% position on Ethereum, depending on what you deposit. Make sure to sign up. You got the second link down below for Bluffin or for Weeks. great exchanges. I use them, okay? They're the ones that I've been using for trading for the last few months, okay? They're great exchanges, great exchanges. We've got some great perks down below. MYX seems to have a story brewing in the future or next season. For now, it's a lottery pick in my opinion. Yes, very true, very true, very true. Atom Cosmos team is doing good. Let's take a look at Atom. This is an OG crypto. And what is going on with Atom here? Let's take a look at the daily chart. Zoom out a bit. Oof. It does look very interesting, right? Atom does look incredibly interesting here. It does look like it's bottoming out for the last few months, right? I have no idea about the project. Are they active? Are they legit? Will they run away and close down? But it looks pretty okay. I think this is kind of the same scenario as ICP. Not looking very bullish with this momentum. So coming down to test the lows is maybe a scenario. But regardless, if you're looking for spot buys, this is where you want to buy on spot, right? When we zoom out, when you're at close to the bottom formation, regardless if you get another 10-20% movement down to test the lows, this is the zone that you're interested basically to buy on spot, right? Andy, would have pushed the price to the moon with 100K? Yeah, that's the thing. This was probably very low liquid. Okay, the MYX. This was probably, I have no idea. We can actually take a look at it on CoinMarketCap to see what was the market capitalization on this one when it was trading at 10 cents. It was probably, yeah, it was only a 15, just above a 10 million market cap. So yeah, $100,000 would definitely move the price quite a bit. So this is insane. It's gone from 10 million market cap to over 3 billion in 2 months. Absolutely crazy, this. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, I was trading below 10 million market cap in June. So market cap gone through the roof. Over 3 billion. Those are the ones that you want to get in. Say chart, please. I do have some say in my portfolio, not a big chunk, but I do have some. It is less than 1% of my portfolio, but say looks very interesting based on this major rally that we had on the launch basically. And you got this being a very three-wavy corrective structure for the moment. And we could be just building up the multiple 1-2s right now. And it does look pretty sexy for this to start rallying in the next coming weeks. It does look pretty strong. You can count a nice 5-wave impulse here. You can count a nice 5-wave impulse in here also. Very corrective price action. That's what you want to see. Likely to take out this high. Hopefully it's going to be the third wave, or it might be another 1-2, and then the third wave comes later on. It does look pretty good. Say does look pretty good when you zoom out. Nice big strong pump. Large 3-wave corrective structure, building up the 1-2s. This could be ready, guys. This could be ready for the next coming weeks. Anyway, make sure to trade safe if you are interested. Bitcoin is pumping. There's nothing to do here. Long trades have been a complete success. I am not in a short position yet. I did not short anywhere in this zone. I just maintained the longs. 113.5 was the main target. I am interested in shorts, but I don't know if the price is going to break out here or if it's going to get weakness. We need to remain patient, study the price action in the next couple of days, and I will be ready to maybe execute a short. We need to remain patient. Maybe I don't get into a short. Depends on the price action, what it gives me, okay? If you're interested in knowing when I'm going to enter these trades that I have been executing for the last few weeks, such as Ethereum short, Bitcoin long, make sure to join the VIP. You have the first link on the Telegram down below. Just by signing up to one of the exchanges in the description, you'll be getting access to the VIP legends, okay? Thank you very much for joining, and I will see you in the next one.